Well, everybody, here we are again. I may have misspoke in my last video because I said that it was going to be my final Smash speculation video, but here we are again. Now, you may be asking yourself, why are you making another Smash video? Didn't you get all your thoughts out in the last one? And yeah, I talked about like first-party characters, Jonesy, Rayman, but because this is the final Smash character, I kind of wanted to narrow things down, especially considering the fact that we just got a Nintendo Direct. We know that the presentation is coming in just a few days now, so I wanted to kind of really hone in on one singular character that I can just go into the presentation hoping for this specific character to claim that final DLC spot. Now, before we get into this, if you like this content, feel free to subscribe. It would really help out the channel, and leave a like if you want to see more stuff like this. Alright, so I have narrowed it down to one final character. I am putting everything into manifesting this character as the final fighter. And that character is... That's right, I am going with Chris from Deltarune as the final character for Smash Ultimate. Now, in my last video, I talked about the potential for Undertale content getting in, maybe Frisk or the Human being that final character, but Deltarune just feels like the series that Sakurai would pick from, and it feels like what Toby would want if he had a say in it. Because, yeah, Undertale is the cult classic game, but in terms of a character to represent both Undertale and Deltarune as a whole, I think that Chris is just a better representation of that. Because where Frisk or the Human is sort of more a stand-in avatar for us, the player, Chris feels like their own fleshed out character that has relations with the other characters in the game, and they're not just a vehicle to move the story along. As for why I think that Chris makes sense as the final rep, I don't want to dwell too much on the whole spirit argument, because that feels like something that always felt like a bit of a reach, because a lack of spirits doesn't automatically mean that a series is going to get a rep. But I like to look back more on what Sakurai said about him having a friendly relationship with Toby Fox. Because ever since Sans got in as a Mii costume, I have not been able to shake the feeling that he was put in as sort of a last minute addition because negotiations had already been done for the first Fighter Pass. But maybe Toby and Sakurai negotiated something for the second Fighter Pass. Now that's a stretch, but it's a possibility. Now, something else that I find interesting is the fact that Undertale and both Deltarune chapters have gotten their own slots in Nintendo Directs. So if Nintendo is trying to promote these games being on their systems in their big showcases, I think it's safe to say that Toby Fox has a fairly good working relationship with Nintendo. And if that's the case, I think that would provide Nintendo with a little bit more incentive to consider one of Toby's characters for getting into Smash Bros. But at the end of the day, this quote-unquote evidence really means shit, because no one's really been able to accurately predict who's coming for Smash, so rather than keep harping on this so-called evidence for why a certain character should get in, I just want to talk about why I want them in the game. So first off, I just love Undertale. I love Deltarune, these characters, these worlds. They're just so much fun, and you can tell that Toby Fox puts so much heart into these games. And I think that Chris would bring a lot to the table being the final fighter. So, I don't really know what Chris's full moveset would look like, but I have a few ideas that I would love to see. I think the whole violence versus pacifism aspect of the game needs to be represented in some form, and I'm sure Sakurai would make it work in the context of Smash. Adding in the TP meter by potentially getting close or frame perfect dodges to allow Chris to use stronger attacks would also be a neat gimmick to pull from Deltarune. Even something like having Ralsei or Susie come out for some of Chris's attacks would add some extra flair that would really make the character feel properly represented. Now you also have to remember that every challenger pack also comes with a stage. And I think that the best way to represent Deltarune in a stage would be a traveling stage, most likely between the light world and the dark world, because that way you can have characters in the background from both sides and properly represent all the different wacky characters that are in Deltarune and Undertale, honestly, because a lot of the characters from Undertale cross over into Deltarune. And of course, there's always the miscellaneous things like spirits and Mii costumes, and these are things that I think are going to take from both Undertale and Deltarune, because both games have such a likable cast of characters that there's so much that you could pull from for any amount of spirits or any cool Mii costumes. There's so many that I could list off. You could have a Pyrrhus sword fighter, you could have a Metaton gunner, there's so much that you could do. And that's really all I have left to say about Chris potentially being the final fighter. There's not really much more to say. I'm just gonna wait and see on October 5th what character gets revealed. If it is Chris, yeah, I'm gonna be happy, but if it's not, I'm not gonna be upset or anything, because we've come this far and we've gotten this many characters that anything extra is just that extra. I'm content with what I've gotten. I know that other people are really hoping and holding out for these huge, exciting gaming characters, but just remember that whatever happens, happens, and it's Sakurai. No matter what character gets in, you know he's going to do them justice. He's done every single character that gets into the game justice, whether you like the character or not. Majority of the cast is pretty fun to play as. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see when October 5th rolls around. Anyways guys, that's enough out of me. If you like this video, consider leaving a like and potentially subscribing to the channel. It would really help out. And I will see you in the next video. Later. What about October 5th? Oh, Monkey Ball comes out on that day? Oh, fuck, it's probably II or some shit.